नमस्कार, सलाम, याली मदद, सत श्री अकाल, गुड इवनिंग टू कैलगरी। आप सबका स्वागत है हमारे प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस में। ये प्रोग्राम आप देखते हैं हमारे अपने फेवरेट टीवी चैनल पंजाबी नेशनल पर और सुनते हैं हमारे अपने फेवरेट रेडियो चैनल रेडियो सुर संगम पर। मैं आपका होस्ट, आपका दोस्त अमृत बरार आपका स्वागत करता हूं अपने इस प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस में और आशा करता हूं कि आपका लास्ट वीक बहुत बढ़िया गया होगा। इस समय कोविड की कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस नई हमारे शहर में दोबारा से आई हैं और काफ़ी लोग इस समय इससे प्रभावित हैं बिकॉज बहुत से लोगों ने अभी वैक्सीनेशन नहीं लगवाया है। तो प्लीज़ जाकर आप वैक्सीनेशन लगवाएं, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। हमारी पूरी टीम की तरफ से आपके लिए यही एक प्रार्थना है, प्लीज़ गो एंड गेट वैक्सीनेटेड। कैलगरी में, एल्बर्टा में, पूरे कनाडा में इस समय इलेक्शंस का माहौल है and all kind of elections are happening in Canada, but especially we talk about our province and our city at this moment. हमारे यहाँ पर स्कूल बोर्ड ट्रस्टी, काउंसलर्स और मेयरशिप के लिए जो मेन इलेक्शंस हैं वो हो रहे हैं 18 अक्टूबर, उसकी वोटिंग डेट है। बहुत से लोगों ने डिफरेंट पोर्टफोलियोज़ के लिए अपनी दावेदारी पेश की है, लेकिन एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट सीट जो कैलगरी के लिए है वो है बीइंग अ मेयर। एक बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, एक बहुत बड़ा दायित्व उस इंसान के कंधे पे होता है क्योंकि वो पूरे शहर को अपने साथ लेकर चलता है और उसकी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उनको वो सॉल्व करता है एक बड़े लेवल पे। तो आज मैं आपकी एक मुलाकात एक ऐसे ही इंसान के साथ करवाने जा रहा हूं जिन्होंने उस मेयर की सीट के लिए अपनी दावेदारी पेश की है। आइए मिलकर स्वागत करते हैं हमारे अपने मिस्टर जेरोमी फार्कस जी का। सर, वेलकम टू द शो।
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate being here.
We've been trying since a long time to have you over here in our studios and today is that great day where we can talk to you and listen to your story and connect you with the people, with our viewers and listeners.
Yeah, I'm excited for the opportunity. So often we have an interview where it's only like maybe 2 or 3 words we get to share. So it's good to be able to actually spend some time together.
That's amazing, sir. So, Mr. Farkas, कैलगरी के साउथ ईस्ट कम्युनिटी ऑफ डोवर से बिलोंग करते हैं। इनके फादर काफ़ी साल पहले, टू बी प्रिसाइज इन 1957 एज अ रिफ्यूजी आए थे हंगरी से, जो कम्युनिस्ट हंगरी था एक टाइम पे, और यहाँ पर आकर उन्होंने अपनी लाइफ शुरू करी। आइए उनसे जानते हैं कि एज एन इमिग्रेंट आज वो इस लेवल पे हैं तो कैसी रही जर्नी और क्या आज वो हमारे लिए नया पर्सपेक्टिव लेके आए हैं। Mr. Farkas, I was just telling our listeners that how your journey began, like your father came, which I read from from your website and other your tweets where I follow you. So let's start with your childhood and how that journey has been so far, starting from your childhood till you thought of running for this seat.
Yeah, so my father, he came as a refugee. He could have gone anywhere in the world, but they chose to come to Canada. They chose to come to Alberta. They chose to come to Calgary. And it was one of the best decisions that they could have ever made. And I think about my experience growing up as a Calgarian in Dover and Forest Lawn. Got to appreciate so many different cultures. And it was so clear to me from just a young boy that Calgary in Canada was so special because anybody could make it here to be able to work,
right,
to be able to build a future for themselves and their family, and even just in terms of the people I went to school with, hailing from all different sorts of backgrounds, ethnicities, religions, and got to appreciate the food as well. Just growing up as a kid, getting invited over to various family occasions and dinners and stuff like that, and man, it was an exceptional experience.
Right.
So despite the fact that my family didn't have a lot of money growing up, I felt that we were able to make up for that in so many ways, just based on the amount of people that I got to meet, as well as our neighbors, really being there for each other in a way that I think perhaps in other communities that you wouldn't see. Because you think about, say, just community sports and events like that. I grew up playing baseball as a kid, and it was the local pho shop, it was the local noodle shop and the local businesses, mostly run by immigrants themselves, that were the ones sponsoring us. It wasn't Costco, it wasn't Walmart. It was those local small business owners who made some degree of success for themselves, but they saw that as just the start. because they needed to be generous, they needed to give back, and to fully participate in what it means to be Calgarian and Canadian. So my idea of my community in Dover, my idea of Calgary, is one that really celebrates that diversity and the fact that so many other people risk so much to be able to make it here. And we're so fortunate to be a place that welcomes rather than discourages that.
Absolutely, sir. And I think we are blessed to be in this country. And,
maybe we take it for granted sometimes.
We will talk about that. I have a couple of points on that also, where we are not, thankful, and we don't want to give it back to the community. And we will talk about that for sure. But here I want to put a point that we are very blessed to be in such a beautiful country where people from so many different nationalities, so many different, cultures, religions, they live under one roof and live in harmony and peace, and they love each other. As you said, you used to go to different, festivals and eat different food, right? This is the beauty of Canada. And especially when we come to Alberta and then we come to Calgary, I think we are so much diverse. We are, people are coming in from all over the world over here because they think Calgary is the best place to live.
Absolutely, and it's been a really incredible experience running for mayor, reaching out, visiting various temples, synagogues, churches, and every step of the way, people are so welcoming. They say, well, what do you want to know? How can we help you? How can we teach you? Right? Like it is so fantastic, and it's so special that we've built a city where, if you don't have the answer, you can quickly find somebody who does, and you can ask the question. But I think it's more than just being accepting, it's about being welcoming. It's about encouraging people to want to come here to bring their ideas, bring their solutions to problems, and really encourage that, because that's our strength. I think that more than anything else, Calgary has something so special. It's that entrepreneurial attitude. It's open for business. It's a can-do attitude, and it's not uniquely Canadian. It's basically calling out to the world that wherever you are, if you want to come here, you can make your incredible life for yourself and live that promise of a great Canadian life.
Absolutely, sir. And especially at this time, it will be very different, City Hall, because
Absolutely.
I think at least, if I'm not wrong, there will be 10 new councillors.
Yes.
And totally new mayor over there, right?
Did you know the biggest change that ever happened was about 50 years ago in 2006? 6 new councillors.
Wow.
So this is the biggest in history, and I think it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity for change. I think we need to see financial responsibility, we need to see public safety and transparency, but most of all, just the listening, I think, is going to be really important for this next mayor and council.
Absolutely, sir. And I think with new people coming, new ideas will come in, new perspective will come in.
Absolutely.
New, fresh, kind of to-go attitude, right? Let's do that, that kind of attitude, because I think the people I'm meeting, and you've also met, who are running for councillorship, and they are good, energetic people, right? Learned people, and I think if you become mayor for Calgary, you're going to have a good team with you.
Well, the mayor has to be 3 things. I think the cheerleader of the team, the quarterback, and the coach.
Wow.
Not always the same 3 all at the same time, but I think the mayor is just one vote, right? So I think one of the biggest challenges and opportunities for this next mayor, whoever it is going to be bringing together city councillors as a team.
Right.
I think what we've seen recently is it's been a bit of a divided, very dysfunctional council. And I think that having that strong alignment, that vision for economic prosperity, getting Calgarians back to work, and making it easier for everyday families and seniors and students who are struggling, I think that that's going to be key. And then the other piece is just change is so important. And I think that I respect Mayor Nenshi, but I think once you're in there for long enough, maybe you don't have the energy like you once did, and I certainly wish him the best as far as what he'll be going on to.
Very well said, sir. And I worked with Mr. Nenshi when the floods were there, and then he came to my show 3-4 times. Yes. And he was fun to talk to, and I wish him all the best for sure. And but he did few things for Calgary which were really good, and it changed. We had a new face at that time, yes. And his leadership changed. Whatever change I don't want to mention over here, but the good change was that people got a mayor who was voted the best mayor in the world,
Yes.
and his work was appreciated everywhere. Looking forward the same from you also, sir. If everything goes well and you are a new mayor, I think people will love you, and people will make sure that you do, because if they vote for you, they have the reasoning, they will have the ability to ask the questions that why this was promised and was not done.
Yeah, and I would say even Mayor Nenshi and I, we may have disagreed on things, but I always wish him well, and I always want him to succeed. And I think that's the same thing. Not everyone will vote for me, or not everyone will vote for another candidate, but I think at the end of the day, we're all Calgarians, we're all Albertans, we're all Canadians, and we want to make sure that our city succeeds. So I think putting the politics aside, of course you may disagree on the issues, but I think it's so important after the election that we come together as a team and with that common focus.
Amazing. आप देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस ओनली ऑन पंजाबी नेशनल टीवी। एक छोटा सा ब्रेक, और ब्रेक के बाद बातचीत को जारी रखेंगे। मिलते हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद। थैंक यू। वेलकम बैक। एक बार फिर से स्वागत है आप सबका हमारे प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस में। हम आज बात कर रहे हैं हमारे एक कैंडिडेट जिन्होंने अपनी दावेदारी पेश की है मेयर की सीट के लिए कैलगरी शहर से, मिस्टर जेरोमी फार्कस। आइए उनसे अब जानते हैं कि उनके क्या एजेंडाज़ हैं, उनके क्या विज़न है, वो किस तरह से पब्लिक के लिए वो क्या सोच रहे हैं। मिस्टर फार्कस, we talked about your life and what was your journey, but now I want to bring a little bit focus on your vision. If you are chosen for that seat, what will be your vision and how the things you are looking differently? Because now I feel the whole Calgary will be your family.
Yes.
Irrespective of what culture, what religion, they will be your family members, and you will have to stand for each one of them.
Yes.
Because they will choose you if you are the one, and they would, because everybody can't be a leader, right? They can be good followers at least. So if we are good follower and we look forward to a good leader, then we expect that leader has fulfilled the promises what he has promised when we were voting for him or
Yes.
her, right? So to start with, I can see four things which you mentioned in your portfolio that's for the elections: economic growth, financial responsibility, better core services, building Calgary for the 21st century. So in this segment, I will not speak. I would love you to say few words on each one of these words. What are the things, what your priorities you have set, so that people can understand exactly what you are saying, not just reading the paper.
Yeah, sure. So like at the end of the day, people want to be able to live a good life. And that's why my father came here, and that's why, despite a lot of the challenges that our family went through, I was able to be successful, to be one of the first in my family to finish high school, be one of the first to finish university, go on to be one of the youngest city councillors. And I think that left or right, liberal or conservative, every single Calgarian wants to live a great Calgarian life. So I think the way that we can try to get things back on track here in the city is with better financial responsibility at City Hall.
Right.
I think taxes are much too high, and it's hitting a lot of the small business owners as well as a lot of the struggling families and seniors the hardest. So I think just like every family does, we need to live within our means. We need to make sure that we're not spending money that we don't have, and that when the tax dollars are collected, that it's on the most important things. Nextly, around the economic situation, I think that we need to be relentless in our pursuit of economic recovery. We need to be able to streamline red tape to make sure it's easier for small businesses to be able to succeed and to be able to get as many Calgarians back to work. And through all of that, though, we need to make sure that we're not ignoring the key services that Calgarians need.
Right.
To make sure that we're investing in the right things, that we're continuing to keep transit, transportation options open, that Calgary is still a great place to be able to receive services no matter where you live in the city.
Right.
I think there's some areas of the city that have started to become overlooked, and I think about particularly northeast Calgary perhaps not seeing the same level of investment as other parts of the city has seen before. So I think that we need to make sure every single Calgarian has the same access to services, no matter what neighborhood you are, in the downtown, the northeast, the southwest, the northwest, or the southeast. So I think that every Calgarian deserves the same access to quality services. And I think we also need to think about the future. We have our current challenges and problems, but we need to be thinking a little bit further out to make sure that Calgary stays in the game, that we remain relevant, that we're not just thinking about ourselves, but we're thinking about our children too, and making sure that we can set them up for success. So there's a number of different ways we can better use technology to make sure that the services remain relevant to Calgarians. But all through that, we need to make sure that we're not ignoring the people. At the end of the day, a good economy is meaningless unless it's there to serve the people. We need to make sure that every Calgarian can share in that prosperity.
Amazing. Mr. Farkas, now you're going for door knocking and meeting everybody all over Calgary. Did you find any point which was common in all the quadrants?
I think people care. People want to be involved. There's many people who don't think of themselves as political, but they really care about their family, they care about their parks, they care about their schools. They may not think that they're interested in politics,
right,
but they really are when they think about the issues. You may knock on a door and say, oh, the person says, well, no, I don't really care about politics. But you may ask them a question, hey, what do you think about your community? What do you think about your neighborhood? What needs fixing? Then all of a sudden people, all the hands go up and they have all sorts of ideas. So there's some areas as well that may have lower turnout in the city, but I think part of that's the politicians to blame. If they're not spending time in these neighborhoods and asking people, then it's self-fulfilling. Then of course the people will say that they don't care about politics. So I think it's a challenge for every candidate, if you're running for mayor or for councillor or even for prime minister. You have to get out there and you have to ask people. Leadership is important, and I think it's important for me as a candidate to have some ideas and have some plans, but more than that, you need to make sure that you spend less time talking and more time listening so that you really understand what people want, where they want to see the city go. Because I'm never the smartest person in the room. I've been blown away from time to time with people who have all sorts of incredibly great ideas that I had never thought of. So you need to make sure that if you're a politician or you're a leader, that you're willing to shut your mouth too, to be able to listen from time to time. Because sometimes the job is to stand up and to say something, but sometimes it's to get out of the way of somebody who already has the idea and they just want the encouragement or the mentorship.
Amazing.
So it's been a good experience because if you're going into it thinking that you have all the solutions or the answers, you're doing it the wrong way, I would say.
Amazing. Very well presented. Mr. Farkas, as we talk about Northeast, see, everybody loves their neighborhood, right? And if I was living in Southeast, I would love that. If I live in Northwest, I would love that. Southwest, the same. But I live in Northeast, so I'm more worried about Northeast. I think Northeast is the area or the quadrant where it's growing like none of the quadrants all over Calgary.
Yes.
We are building more houses, and it's extended till now almost the end of Calgary, right? Now, the main problem the people see is that the houses are built, but there is no other infrastructures.
Yes.
There are no schools, there are no parks, there are no recreational places where people can take their kids to, and the most important, there is no transportation.
Yes.
We have Redstone, we have Skyview, we have Cornerstone, but no buses. There are people, especially the old folks, our seniors, they can't drive, so they rely on the transportations. Now they have to go for groceries, or maybe they're going for temples or gurdwaras or churches, mosques, but they don't have the means to reach there. What is your vision on that? Like, why we just make houses, we make homes, we give grants to, or permissions rather, to all these people who are developing that area, but we see a place where it says future school coming up, but when that will come, nobody knows. Future bus stop, but when that bus is coming, nobody knows. What changes are you going to bring if you are chosen as the mayor?
So I think we need to be smart about development. We need to make sure that the services and the infrastructure is there so that from day one, if somebody moves into a neighborhood, that they have the same access to opportunity than anywhere else. So I think council hasn't been as smart as they should have been in terms of some of these approvals to make sure that we're actually funding the investments that are needed, as well as taking care of what we already have. So for example, say Bobahan Pool in East Calgary, the quality of the infrastructure is just not there. It's bursting at the seams. Same with, say, the Genesis Center. The demands are there. The demands are so much higher than what they have capacity for. So I think that we need to continue to invest there. But I want to be very clear. It's not to give special treatment to the Northeast. It's to make sure that in the Northeast you have the same level, the same expectation as anywhere else in the city.
At least the same,
Yeah,
right?
the same level.
Exactly. But here comes where the people of Northeast become a little bit more, they feel, left out. You just compare any of the sea train stations.
Yes.
If you go to Marlborough, if you go to Rundle, if you go to Whitehorn, you feel scared because
Yes.
there is no security. There is even the place which is so dingy, right? And same way, if you go to Northwest, you see those stations. You go to Chinook, they are so lit up, and it looks like you've come to a place where should be there. But these are the minor things, but it makes a lot of difference on the people who are living in that area. Then they feel left out. That's why we are not treated the same. We are not asking for treat us better, at least the same, right?
Well, Northeast has some of the most business activities, some of the most small business owners of any other part of the city. So there's a lot of taxes that are paid by the Northeast, and especially east of the Deerfoot. And my friend Jassy had mentioned that, well, when you come to Calgary or visiting the airport and you're say taking your taxi or getting to go into the downtown, the Northeast is what you see. It's the first impression of Calgary to all of these visitors who come internationally from elsewhere in the world. We should actually take much more pride in our Northeast. When we think about Airport Trail and all the rest, instead all you see is the giant blue ring up by Deerfoot Trail, right? But it should be beautiful. It should be incredible. It should be such a sight to behold that, similar to say if you're visiting Paris or London or New York,
right.
They know that around their airport is the place that all of these visitors see, and there's a lot of special attention that is given to making sure that it's beautiful, that it's welcoming, and it really showcases what their local city is about. So I think we need to make sure that we can catch up on things like that, as well as more investments, say, in transit. I'm pushing for increases to the LRT system to be able to build out the Northeast further on the Blue Line, as well as more safety investments. So I'm definitely not in support of this defund the police agenda. I think it's very dangerous to be pushing for more cuts to the police. Of course, I am in favor of more diversity training and accountability for our police, but we need to make sure that our communities are safe rather than embracing what could be a very dangerous ideology.
Amazing. आप देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस ओनली ऑन पंजाबी नेशनल टीवी। एक छोटा सा ब्रेक, और ब्रेक के बाद हम लोग दोबारा आपके साथ हाजिर होंगे। मिलते हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद। एक बार फिर से स्वागत है हमारे प्रोग्राम कैलगरी फोकस में। हम लोग बातचीत कर रहे हैं मिस्टर जेरमी फार्कस जी के साथ, जो कि दावेदार हैं कैलगरी के मेयरशिप सीट के लिए। मिस्टर फार्कस, this question is from my side. When we meet the candidates, irrespective they are school board trustees or they are councillors or they are running for mayorship, they are always very accessible. You can email them,
Yes.
you get the answer pretty quick, you can call them, you can text them, there are all kind of promises made. But I would like to know from your heart, as a person, as a Calgarian, if you are chosen and you sit on that seat, how accessible you will be for a common man to reach out and talk to you directly, not going through the whole spiel of assistance and okay,
Yes.
he will call you back or fill up this form. I totally understand there are certain protocols, there are certain things which you will have to manage, but as a person, what is Jeromy like? He will be out there for people.
So what I'm promising is every month throughout the city, rotating, I'll be hosting a monthly town hall meeting. So I'll book a community center, maybe the Genesis Center or elsewhere, where once a month anybody can come and speak with me.
Wow.
Town hall format, where I'll stand in front of the audience.
Great.
But I'll give the audience the microphone so
Great.
that I can listen, I can learn, I can answer questions. And currently as a city councillor, I do this monthly town hall meeting.
Right.
And since I was elected, I've done 50 meetings like this.
Wow.
Where anyone and everybody can come and speak with me and to provide their thoughts on how City Hall is going and if they have any challenges or opportunities.
Right.
But for me, when I was elected, I wanted to make sure that I never forgot where I came from that I never forgot the people that I serve. So things like, say, I'm the only councillor in history to have turned down the City Council Golden Pension.
Wow.
So I believe very strongly in leading by example to follow through on the promises that I make. And it's a good thing because with this election, I think that I give the public something that the other candidates don't, which is a proven record. So we're all going to say sort of the same things, but I think you got to look to how we've actually acted, how we voted, how we've operated over the last 4 years. Absolutely. And I think for me, it's just a continuation of what I've previously been doing rather than something new or a new promise that people might not know whether or not I'll follow through. But for me, I was raised to respect my elders, and my grandmother, she would always tell me, a promise made is a promise kept.
Amazing.
So that for me is very important because why would I want to do this if I'm not doing it the right way? And I think that it's time for a change.
Absolutely. तो आप सुन रहे हैं मिस्टर फाकस को जिन्होंने अपनी दावेदारी पेश की है हमारी मेयर सीट के लिए कैलगरी शहर से, और वो कहते हैं कि टॉक लेस लिसन मोर. दिस इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट ही मेड आउट. ही वांट्स टू लिसन, ही वांट्स टू टेक एक्शन. अगर आपको लगता है कि ये राइट कैंडिडेट हैं तो आप ज़रूर 18 अक्टूबर को निकलें और वोट करें. Again, it's a privilege. It's not a privilege, it's a blessing that we live in a country where we can choose our leaders. It's a big, big blessing. Please exercise that vote. Right to vote is a very important factor in our life. Please do exercise it. We have seen in past very less turnout for the voting. Please, it's a time for change. We have to make a change. Please come out on 18th October and vote. Irrespective whom you choose, but choose the right person for yourself and for everybody who is living in this city. Mr. Farkas, another thing, the last question which I have from you, how you think this COVID has affected people? Just last 1 minute if you can summarize. And do you think that City Hall took the right decisions? Well, as a Calgarian, not as a candidate.
You know, I don't like how City Hall has tried to interfere with the provincial government. I think City Council, we shouldn't be dealing with health issues and voting on things that are outside of our jurisdiction.
Right.
So I think in some ways always fighting the province leads to a lot of confusion, and it makes people afraid, more afraid than they would be in a really already bad situation.
Right.
So I think COVID has really shown that a lot of challenges and a lot of stress.
Right.
But it's also shown the such great bonds of our community. Even hearing of the temples, making sure that everybody has food, seeing the small business owners stepping up to help each other.
Right.
Seeing how citizens have come together. I think there's a silver lining. It's been a bad experience and it's been a real tough experience. But I think it's shown that Calgarians are tough.
Right.
That we really care for each other, and we've been through worse than this, and I think as a city, as a community, we're going to be able to come back stronger than ever. We've always shown that we have as a city, and I think Calgarians have shown and proven through over the last 100 years or more that we're tough, that we care, and that we're not going to take a setback like this lightly. We're going to come back stronger than ever.
Amazing. So इसी नोट के साथ आपको यही दोबारा से गुजारिश है, please do come out on 18th October and vote. Sir, before we end today's program, your last few words for today, and if you can just talk about, say about your website, how people can contact you if they have more questions, if you can tell our viewers, please.
Sure. So please visit our website, www.jeromy.ca. I so appreciate your consideration. It's been my privilege to be able to serve as a city councillor. Over the last 4 years, I've never forgotten that it's the people that I work for. I want to work hard for you as your mayor to be able to unleash Calgary's potential and get Calgarians back to work and be able to bring in another area of prosperity for our city. We have so much good going for us, and I think that it's not always the politicians who have the answer. You know, this might lose me votes, but I'll say I'm never the smartest person in the room. I'm always listening, I'm always learning, and I want to hear from you. If there's ever any way that I can be of help to you, please let me know. I really care and I want to do a good job for you.
Amazing. तो ये थे हमारे कैंडिडेट जो कि मेयर की कुर्सी के लिए जिन्होंने अपनी दावेदारी पेश की है, मिस्टर जेरोमी फार्कस. अगर आपको लगता है ही इज़ राइट कैंडिडेट, प्लीज़ गो आउट एंड वोट फॉर हिम, प्लीज़ एनालाइज एंड देन चूज़ द राइट पर्सन। मैं आपका होस्ट, आपका दोस्त अमित बराड़ आपसे इजाज़त लेता हूँ। नेक्स्ट वीक दोबारा आपसे मुलाकात होगी एक नए गेस्ट के साथ। तब तक के लिए ध्यान रखें। प्लीज़ डू टेक केयर ऑफ़ योर सेल्फ। थैंक यू।